everyone. Welcome, and it's good to have all of you here in Ripon. Brooke is right. I have crisscrossed the country, and you'll see I'm wearing a lei here. I've always heard about the Hawaiian contingent at Ripon, and Debbie Chang gave me this to wear. And of course, I will be going to Hawaii next year, probably in January or February, around that time period, right? Brooke was saying this is my second year at the college, and this event really is one of my favorites because it really does remind all of us who have the honor of working here at Ripon College how incredible so many of our alumni are, both in what they accomplished while they were here on the playing fields and in the classroom as undergrads, but also how much they've done professionally and personally since graduating. And you know, I've told some of you this, I just taught one of our new summer in focus classes that the college is running. These are short classes that we offer now at the end of the academic semester and in August at the beginning of the fall semester. 3 weeks, intensive course, one class. And the class that I just completed, actually team taught the class with Professor Diane Mockridge, who's here in history. It was called Old Italy, New Italy. And we spent a week here on campus. There were 40 students who applied to get into this class. We can only take 23. We spent a week here on campus where we had lectures on history, politics, culture, language. We went even to Sheboygan and had a world-class Neapolitan pizza at Il Ritrovo. I completely recommend this place to you. But then we took the whole class to Rome for 2 weeks. We lived in a villa outside the city, and we went and toured various sites. And the thing that I've been telling people, and it's really true, although we had a wonderful time in Italy and it was great, the best part of that trip, the absolute best part of the trip for me, and I know this is true for Professor Mockridge as well, is I got to know 23 Ripon's college students really well. I mean, I played cards with them at night, I drank wine with them at vineyards, I had pizza with them, I saw sights with them, I sat on buses with them. I got to hear about who they were, and what I can report to you is Ripon College students today, I mean, I really got to know these students are curious, and they're smart, and they're funny, and they're interesting, and they are going to achieve great things in their lives the way the people who are going to be honored here tonight have done as well. So the tradition lives on. Now I will say one more thing about this. Professor Mockridge and I are going to open this trip up to alumni next year. I am not kidding. I mean, as fast as you can say gelato, we will be taking alumni on this trip as well. So please watch for this. So I wish you all a wonderful evening and reunion, and hope to look forward to talking to as many of you personally as I can over the course of the next couple days. So thank you all for being here, and on with the show.
Thank you, Zach. Tonight, the Ripon College Alumni Association honors 8 exceptional alumni. When I announce the name of the award recipient, I ask that the recipient and the presenter please come forward to the podium from your table. Before we begin our recognition, let me first just briefly describe the awards we will bestow on these outstanding individuals this evening. 4 awards will be made to inductees into the Ripon College Athletic Hall of Fame. This honor was established in 1979 and to be given to coaches and student athletes who have significantly distinguished themselves in Ripon College athletic programs. As many of us have seen, a copy of each plaque given tonight will hang at the Athletic Hall of Fame wall in the Storzer Center to commemorate our honorees' achievements. Next on our program, celebrating its 22nd year in the Outstanding Young Alumni Award, this award honors recent Ripon College graduates. These young alum have distinguished themselves either in their profession, service to the community, their commitment to Ripon College. This evening, we are proud to recognize one young alumnus for his achievements and contributions since graduation. Finally, the Distinguished Alumni Citation recognizes alumni who represent what Ripon College seeks to achieve in the education it provides to all students. These extraordinary alumni have either attained great distinction in their professional fields, rendered outstanding community service, or have distinguished themselves in their support of Ripon College. This evening we honor 3 such individuals. In the 162 years of existence, Ripon College has awarded more than 200 alumni this prestigious honor. Before we honor this year's award recipients, I would like to recognize past award recipients who are here tonight. All prior award winners are listed in your programs. Would any past Athletic Hall of Fame inductees please stand and remain standing? And I know there's several. Would the past outstanding young alumni award winners please stand and remain standing? Not sure if we have, that's a newer award. And would the past distinguished alumni citation, do we have somebody? Citation award winners please stand and remain standing? Thank you all for all you've done for your careers and for Ripon College. Now it's time to meet our award recipients for 2014. Athletic Hall of Fame recipient Molly Knight-Maurer, class of 2003, presented by Julie Johnson, who herself is a 2005 Hall of Fame inductee, athletic director, and former head football. Sorry, Molly, we were totally joking about this. Sorry. Head women's basketball coach. Molly and Julie, please come forward. My table should be appropriately laughing.
Thank you, Brooke. Good evening and welcome, everyone. I also want to take this time to congratulate all the award recipients for this year. Don, Kathy, Chris, Joanne, and Kurt. Words cannot express how proud I am to be the one to honor Molly Knight-Maurer tonight, class of 2003. Molly. It's a good thing I only have 2 minutes. Molly is a former Appleton East basketball, volleyball, softball athlete who came to Ripon in 1999. Molly made an impact immediately to the women's basketball program, especially on the offensive side. Molly had an offensive mindset, which to a player meant keep shooting and I'll get hot, and there's never a bad shot. For a coach, it meant a player who only enjoys playing offense and no defense. Shooters always have the mentality that they can just outscore their opponents. Now, as a basketball coach who loved defense, let's just say that Molly and I disagreed a lot at first. But Molly was one of the best shooters I had who learned to love defense. So much so that 2 of her former players from Kaukauna High School, the Van Berkel twins, Kelly and Corey, who graduated in 2013 and played for me, did not need a readjustment to their love for defense due to Molly's coaching. Molly put her basketball knowledge and skills along with her leadership skills to work while coaching high school for 4 years and led her team to the sectional finals. Molly was a coachable, smart player who had a strong presence on the court. Molly drained 3-pointers from anywhere, and her selfless court awareness led to 100+ assists in more than 1 season. The only player to do that. So selfless that the majority of her athletic pictures are of her looking to pass or on the floor diving for loose balls. She had a knack for scoring and for sharing the rock to make her teammates better. Molly's determination, toughness, passion, work ethic on and off the court earned her 4 all-conference honors, again, the only player to do that. While participating in 3 Midwest Conference tournaments, Molly was a vocal and very tough competitor. Her freshman year, Molly came back from an ankle injury, which was one of many, and scored 32 points, 4 shy of the record, shooting 65% from the field. She led the team in assists, rebounds, and average double figures. Lastly, I fondly remember her games against Carroll University for 2 reasons. She was the only one that liked their gym. And she raised her game against the toughest opponents, which at the time was Carroll. She thrived on the competition. She is a lifelong competitor. I also had the pleasure of having Molly as an assistant coach for 1 year, where she was a major factor in our appearance in the NCAA tournament in 2004. Molly has taught me a lot about basketball, coaching, and life in general. She was and still is a teammate who has your back when it's against the wall. Molly is the true definition of a team player. Molly, having the opportunity to coach you and watch you grow as a person has been a special gift that will keep on giving through your daughters, Breely and Aaliyah. I'm very proud to have you represent Ripon College athletics, especially women's basketball, and I have a tremendous respect for you and your accomplishments. Please join me in congratulating Molly Knight-Maurer on her induction into the 2014 Ripon College Athletic Hall of Fame.
All right. Coach Jensen, thank you so much for that gracious introduction and for your many years of mentorship turned friendship. But most of all, thank you for taking a fairly significant chance on me in 1999. As she said, I dribbled exclusively with my right hand. I didn't play much defense, and I was a little intense. I'm still not sure why she recruited me, but I guess she thought I could score. I'm grateful to the Alumni Association Board for selecting me to be inducted into the Ripon College Hall of Fame. I know there are many other deserving athletes, and for that I'm humbled. It's truly the highest honor. I wasn't much older than my daughter Breely when I fell in love with basketball. I was 6, my stepdad was the coach, and my teammates were stinky prepubescent boys. I can remember from very early on, I would go to the YMCA on Saturday mornings and watch the men play. I'd shoot along the sidelines, hoping that one day those guys would recognize my skills and invite me to sub in. Finally, that day came when I was in middle school. "Hey, little girl," they said, "want to play?" "Who do I guard?" I asked. They pointed to a 75-year-old geriatric who could hardly make it up and down the court. Thanks, I thought, someday I'll show them. I was blessed to have had parents, coaches, and teammates who encouraged me and helped me develop my talent throughout those early years. I played as much basketball as time would allow. It was my passion, and my years of playing taught me some of life's most important lessons. Get up when you're knocked down. You're only as good as you want to be. You won't always get what you want. Discipline earns success. Make good choices and never ever give up. My high school experience brought some exciting memories I will cherish forever. My teammates and I made it to the state tournament my junior year, won conference my senior year, and I was awarded Player of the Year in the Fox Valley Association Conference my senior season. Although most of my memories of high school are happy ones, I will always remember my last experience on the court in high school. I was sidelined with an ankle injury, one of many. At the last game of the season, I never played on that court again. I thought my dreams of playing college ball were over. But then Coach Johnson called. She called me every few weeks to make the case as to why I should become a Red Hawk. Her pitch was that Ripon was a great academic institution and had a successful women's basketball program. She was right, but what I didn't realize at the time was that I would make lifelong friends, find a career path that I love, and by the way, I met my husband Kurt Mauer here, and we now have 2 beautiful daughters. Of course, like most things worth doing, being a student athlete wasn't easy. I had to earn my spot on a very competitive team and keep up with extraordinarily challenging academics. With the help of coach, family, and teammates, I stayed disciplined and never gave up. The hard work paid off my freshman year when I was voted to the Midwest Conference second team, and with the help of my teammates, put 32 points on the board. I was knocked down again with another ankle injury that required reconstructive surgery, but I worked hard to get right back up. I was determined to once again earn my spot back on the team. In the subsequent years, I made first team all-conference, received an MVP award, and Coach Johnson saw in me a leader, and she made me team captain. I believe that in every success you have in life is because of the people around you. All of the basketball awards that I have received, including this one, is because of the support, counsel, and encouragement from my parents, Coach Johnson, the Red Hawks coaching staff, my teammates, my friends, Ripon College faculty, and my husband. It's because of this whole experience that I went on to become a coach myself for a few years before having children. Now I watch from the bleachers, I miss the game, but with my 2 daughters, Kurt and I find ourselves playing man-to-man defense. So I still get my fill. And nothing on this planet compares to being a mother. Someday I'll pass along the lessons I took from the game, and maybe even my jump shot, to my daughters. And Coach Johnson, I'll be sure to make sure they learn how to play defense. Thank you for indulging me as I relive some of the best experiences of my life. And I can't take my seat without recognizing a dear friend of ours, Dan Sutter, who was inducted into the Ripon College Hall of Fame 2 years ago. Though Dan is no longer with us, we miss him every day. His legacy lives on in the spirit of Ripon College. I'm beyond humbled to be inducted into the Hall of Fame with Dan and every other inductee. Thank you for this award. I am truly grateful.
Wonderful. I didn't realize how wonderful. These are great. Outstanding Young Alumni recipient Lacey T. Rourke, class of 2007, presented by Lamont Colucci, Associate Professor of Politics and Government. Lacey and Lamont, please come forward.
I have the honor tonight of introducing an outstanding student, Lacey Rourke. In 2 minutes, which is a little difficult, I remember the day I arrived on Ripon campus for the first time, having been hired a few days before the semester started, not knowing what to expect from a liberal arts college or liberal arts students. I think the institution is lucky that the first of 2 students I ever met was Lacey. I was supposed to teach a class that the prior person who had resigned had created with a title something like Leadership and Democracy. I had no idea what that person meant, so I changed the class to Comparative Political Economy. Lacey must have been a little crazy because she stuck with the class, and I remember that we met early in the morning in Todd Weir. I then had Lacey in most of my classes that dealt with international affairs and quickly detected a passion for learning, research, and action in the field. Lacey is the kind of person that the more one gets to know her, the more you are impressed by her. She graduated from Ripon College with majors in politics and government and history. Her politics thesis concerned the Orange Revolution in the Ukraine. Very clairvoyant. She is currently pursuing a master's degree in strategic intelligence from the Institute for World Politics in Washington, D.C. Lacey always had firm opinions, backed up by evidence and reason. She always wanted to know more depth, and the classes were always raised in their intellectual level by the mere fact of her presence. Let me read what the National League of Families of American Prisoners of War and Missing in Action says about her. As the national coordinator, she worked with the league's chairman of the board on POW MIA policy, conducted research and participated in high-level government meetings with American POW MIA policy officials, as well as former government officials from Vietnam, Laos, and Cambodia. Lacey's other responsibilities included coordination with veteran service organizations, military bases, and communities around the country on educational outreach and public awareness. Lacey is a bit embarrassed at receiving this award. She believes that the work she did for the families of American prisoners of war and missing in action is the reason she was nominated, and she feels that such a work is a calling, that it is meaningful in its own right, and not for receiving awards or accolades. I can't think of a better reason that she is getting this award than that. Please welcome Lacey Gordon.
I'd like to thank Professor Colucci for taking the time out of this evening to come and present this award to me. This is really the first time I've been back to Ripon since I graduated as an actual alum. I came a couple of times to visit, but it's always nice to come home, so thank you guys. When I was a kid, I remember I was always terrified that I would be forgotten, that I would not do something important enough, or that there wouldn't be enough people around me as I grew up to be able to tell my story when I was gone. And I remember very vividly interning at the league in college, and I was going through these folders of the MIAs that we had on file, and I came across this one in particular, and it was so small, and I opened it up because it struck me because so many of the other ones had pages and pages, and there were descriptions of these young men, and there were photographs, and their parents and their wives had written about their favorite foods and what they did for fun and who they were and what made them a person. And there was this one man whose folder really just had his name and was basically a situation report of where he went missing. And I did a little bit of research on him and found out that his file was so small because his parents had died and he didn't have any brothers or sisters. And I cried for about a week straight. And I remember telling my mom on the phone why I was so upset. And I was so upset because there was nobody to remember him. And so going into this work is really important because everybody needs to be remembered and everybody needs to have a story. And they need to have somebody to tell their story. And I don't work full-time for the league anymore. I'm a volunteer with them so I can go to graduate school and hopefully one day go into personnel recovery. But these families have done more for me than I could ever do for them. And the return POWs that I've gotten to know over the last few years have taught me more about honor and strength and humanity and morality than I could ever learn in a textbook. So I'm really the lucky one, and I'm really the one who has been served more by the work that I've done than anything that I could ever do. But I do thank you all for the opportunity to be here and to be recognized. It's really special, and it means a lot coming from Ripon. It was a great school. It was a great community to be a part of, and so thank you guys very much.
Presented by Bob Gillespie, a 1996 Hall of Fame inductee, Associate Professor of Physical Education Emeritus, former head basketball coach and baseball coach. Nick and Bob, please come forward. Oh, Luke. Yes, it's in my phone, thank you. It does say, I read what it said. Luke.
I'm honored to be asked to present Luke Hagel to the Ripon College Athletic Hall of Fame. Luke came to Ripon from Random Lake High School, where he was an outstanding athlete in baseball and football. Luke was the, and I'm going to say this because this was amazing when we were recruiting him. Luke was the all-time leading rusher in the history of Wisconsin high school football. Now, that's as big time as you get. Luke decided to come to Ripon because of great academics and the opportunity to play both sports. I remember Luke's visit vividly. I remember going home, and obviously it was a big visit, and my wife asked me, well, how was Luke Hagel? And I told her, I said, you know, he's more mature than I am. In baseball, Luke was a 4-year starter. He played left field, second base. He played wherever you would need him to play. He was all-conference in 3 of his 4 years. In Luke's senior year, he batted .470. He scored 61 runs, which, if you put that into a major league season, that means Luke would have scored 244 runs, which never happens, of course. That was a Midwest Conference record. He set the Midwest Conference record for hits in a season. He had 70, and he also stole 22 bases, and he was named to the All-Region team, and that's 10 players from 3 states. Luke was a great player on great teams. His team won 2 conference championships, 3 NCAA tournament appearances. In his sophomore year, he was in the game to go to the World Series. In any other era, Luke Hagel would have won many, many more individual honors. But he played with great players on Ripon's best baseball team. In football, Luke played 2 seasons. In his senior year, he was named Midwest Conference Offensive Player of the Year. He gained over 1,600 yards, 19 touchdowns, which were school records. I saw athletes here for 33 years in all sports, okay? Without question, he's one of the best athletes ever to play at Ripon College. And when I think of Luke, tonight, this is a great night, okay? He's what Ripon College is all about. Excellence, both on the field and in the classroom. And then the best thing I can say about Luke Hagel always played with class. Mr. President, I'm honored to present Luke Hagel to the Ripon College Athletic Hall of Fame.
All right, first off, I would like to thank Coach Gillespie for the kind remarks and the nice introduction. I know he ran through a lot of accolades and records and whatnot. As we were out on the golf course this morning, we were reflecting on one other record that he failed to mention today. Some of you that know me well. I was a wrestler in high school. One day at Ripon, we were out in the practice field, kind of in the outfield stretching. I was laying back as we were reflecting on the story earlier. doing kind of a hurdler quad stretch, and Coach Bob, who had mentioned that maybe I was more mature than him at that point in time. Here's kind of a case in point. I was laying back doing a hurdler stretch, and all of a sudden, kind of on the out of the peripheral vision, I see kind of this cat-like structure kind of sprawling at me in attack mode, and he kind of flies into me, and in one motion, we kind of roll over, and I wind up with him on his back, and me kind of on top of him, giving him the cover, the pin count. One of the other players on our team kind of popped up and checked the shoulder blades, and they were both down, and he was pinned. So Coach Gillespie, I think that I also hold the record for the fastest pin of a student over a faculty member in Ripon College history. So thank you for that honor as well. And I mentioned that story, I guess mainly, somewhat for the entertainment value, but somewhat for the purpose of conveying a type of experience that I had at Ripon College. The atmosphere that was created here was one that I enjoyed immensely. It was one where the faculty and the staff interacted very well. I think they all had close personal relationships. I think that there was a lot of success and there was a lot of good times had on both sides. And I think a lot of it was developed by the atmosphere and the culture that this institution promotes. So I'm very grateful and I'm deeply honored to be associated with this institution and with the people that have made it and the people that continue to make it. From the administration to the coaches to the faculty and so on down the line. I think it attracts individuals that are genuinely good-natured, that are down-to-earth, that are friendly. I think for the most part, you get people at Ripon College that are fierce competitors. They're driven, they're successful, but I think their egos are all in check, and I was blessed to be part of that culture, and I'm happy to be, to have played in that environment at Ripon. Whether it was football or baseball, we had great leadership at the top. We had outstanding coaches, and it made it very memorable and enjoyable and significant for me to have played with, to have played for the staff that I played with and played for the teammates that I played for. I'm not sure that I could have asked for a better coach, a better role model, a better person. Coach Bob's dad, Gordy Gillespie, he was passionate about the game of baseball. He was passionate about life. He was extremely demanding of us. He had high expectations of us, but yet he was always very compassionate. He was always the kind of guy that no matter if you were a starter on the team or if you were just a role player on the team, he cared for you. He cared for you deeply. And I think that's the kind of people and the kind of institution that Ripon is, and really is what I was drawn to when I was searching out colleges and searching and looking for a place that I wanted to land. That was one of the big reasons that I landed here. He commanded respect from us as players, and in terms, he always gave us respect as athletes. He taught us a lot about baseball, he taught us a lot about life, and I'm deeply grateful to have been able to play for him and had the opportunity to play for him and for Bob. Coach Ernst and Coach Coles, who I talked to earlier this morning and have shared some comments with them, I'm eternally grateful to them. Some of you know I played football my freshman year. After my freshman year, I decided I just wanted to focus on baseball, so sophomore and junior year, I ended up just playing baseball. As my senior year came around, I started to feel more comfortable with college and with the whole experience and decided I wanted to play football again. I came back to Coach Ernst, and he was very, very grateful, or I was very humble. I was very grateful that he was willing to take a chance on me and to accept me back on the team and allow me to play football again. That's obviously one of the primary components of why I'm fortunate enough to be honored here tonight. And without Coach Ernst taking that chance back on me again, I might not be here today. So I'm very thankful for that opportunity. And I'm also thankful for the fact to have played with a great group of guys. And whether it was baseball and the team that we had, some of my best friends are here tonight: Rick, Todd, Joe, Steve. Todd's not a baseball guy, but we kind of make him an honorary baseball guy because he is somewhat formidable in our fantasy baseball league these days. I met some of my best friends here, and I'm very happy to be here. on the football side of it, I don't think there's any coincidence the fact that two of the most prolific running backs, myself and Troy DeVoe in college history, ran behind the same offensive line, basically. Kurt Maurer, whose wife is here tonight, Brad Day, Chris Stumpke, Dan Luter, Nick Vraney, those guys, they did a fantastic job up front, and I would be remiss if I didn't recognize them for their efforts there, and hopefully they're able to get in here someday as well for having an instrumental role, I think, in both Troy and my nomination into the Hall of Fame here tonight. Last but certainly not least, I wouldn't be here today without the love and support of my family. My wife Jen, who I began dating here at Ripon, was always 100% behind me. When I told her I was going to play football again, she supported me and was with me 100% of the way. Most importantly, my sister, my parents, from the time I was a kid, from the time I was 4 years old, and whether it was wrestling or soccer and football and baseball, whatever it was, they were taking me to it, they were dragging me around, they were giving up, their life, they were giving up their weekends, their free time for camps and tournaments, and you name it. They never second questioned it, they were always there and willing to do it. My dad coached me in a lot of different sports. And I'm deeply grateful for everything they've done to make me the person that I am today. The magnitude of their love and support has been extremely important in my life, and a quality that I'm very admirable of. I'm proud of them and proud to know where I come from, and I hope that my kids are as thankful and proud of us as parents someday, as I am of my parents. I love my time here at Ripon. This honor means a lot to me, and for me, as a lot of the Ripon College coaching staff often professed, especially the football coaching staff, it's a great day to be a Red Hawk. Thank you.
Thank you, Luke. Distinguished Alumni Citation recipient, Jacqueline Vaselli, class of 1974, presented by Robert Spud Hannaford, Professor of Philosophy, and Victor and Carrie Palmer, Chair in Leadership and Values Emeritus, and Adjunct Professor of Philosophy. Jackie and Spud, please come forward.
Paper, lest I wag on and on. I have the honor of presenting Dr. Jacqueline Vaselli for the Distinguished Alumna Award. We at the college have had reason to expect great things from her, for we can recall many instances from her student days when she, although blind from birth, saw more quickly and clearly than her fellow students, although they were sighted and able. And I might add, the same holds true about her professors. One wonders whether we now find a similar pattern in her achievements in her career as a professor of government. For what Jackie has seen and argued for in that career goes against the stand of very influential political theorists, against what some regard as their political wisdom, namely their view that we in America and in the West should take our own tradition as an exclusive source of insights about human rights and values, that we should attend single-mindedly to our own tradition in exploring those values. But Jackie argues to the contrary. Her recent work presents evidence from other cultures and traditions around the world, showing that we share with them our central core values, such as respect for individual dignity and human rights. She's currently at work on a reader comprised of texts from those cultures which establish her point. She proposes that instead of excluding representatives of those cultures, we should enter into dialogue with them and learn from them. In doing so, we would find many sources of insight about fundamental human values. Thus, her professional work discloses important truths that have not been as clearly seen by influential writers in her field. For this, she surely merits our highest regard. Let's give it to her.
So very, very much. Dr. Hannaford, thank you for such kind words. I didn't have the reputation for being speechless. One of my nicknames, because I did study some Japanese in high school, and in Japanese, a surname Yamaguchi means mountain mouth. But it's impossible for me to find words to express what I'm feeling, to express my thanks. I look on this award as a challenge because my regard for you all at Ripon is such. I could not have earned this award. This is a challenge for me to try to live every day to attempt to earn it, because my regard for you is such that I have no words. I want to thank, first of all, my father who is with me here, and like my late mother who supported me and backed me up in all of my studies and wanderings to Africa and all manner of other things, and probably thought I was crazy half the time and never said it. I want to thank all of the faculty of Ripon College, Dr. Hannaford, Dr. Cope-Caston, all of my other instructors, all of the faculty who have continued to work with students at Ripon. I would like to thank President Massetti, the administration of Ripon. I would very much like to thank Tyler Loest and Amy Gerritsen and all of the colleagues who have made this such a wonderful event for all of us. Ripon is a unique place. A place where discourse is practiced in the most meaningful sense. I never met Socrates in this life, but I feel as if I might have. I feel as if the experience that I had must be something like what it would have been like to sit there in the Agora in Athens and discuss all the great ethical, political, and epistemological questions and so on. I'm teaching at Minnesota. I love my students at Minnesota, but they're into the Minnesota quiet thing. And I often wish that I could import some Ripon students. I had the honor of coming back a few years after I graduated and invading one of Dr. Hannaford's classes and causing mayhem. And the students were the same. They wanted to discuss, they were curious. Ripon is a magical place. I would like to thank all my peers in the class of '74 and those right ahead of us and right behind us, who were my companions in all of our searches and all of our foolishness and things we're not going to talk about. We're just going to remember fondly. You saw me as a person, you accepted me for who I was, and that was more precious than you probably will ever know. I really feel that I got a second birth at Ripon, that at Ripon I found out the person that I wanted to be, and Ripon truly is my alma mater. It's the place where we not only explored concepts and values and deep questions, but it's also a place where we had instructors and administrators and staff people and peers who lived those things, who showed us by example what it is to be a good human being. And so Ripon really is my alma mater. I don't have any words to thank you for this honor. I will just try every day to continue, as I've been trying to do, to live out the values of Ripon College. Thank you so very, very much.
Presented by Terry Kramer, Hall of Fame member and class of '81. Terry and Tim, please come forward.
I kind of feel like a freshman basketball player again. I'm the substitution. Doc Weisky was supposed to be here. He's kind of under the weather, so they called me in, but I got a note a little while ago from Doc. He says, doing great. I'm worried about missing the gig. Tell Hawk he's got the ball. Don't screw it up. Okay. So I've got 5 minutes. No, I hear I've got 2 minutes. Back to my freshman year. That's the same thing Doc would have told me as a freshman. You've got 2 minutes. You're a sub. Let's go. Tim Barnes is one of the greatest big men in the history of Ripon College. That's what it says here. There's a story. This thing's too loud. Larry Bird was doing a press conference, right, when the Celtics were the great Celtics, and he's up in front, and some young reporter says to him, he says, "Got it really done." He says, "Maybe Mr. Bird," he says, "why are the Celtics so good? Why are they so good?" And it's a really dumb question. And Larry Bird says, we're good because we've got good players. But what you really want to ask is, why are the Celtics champions, right? You want to know why the Celtics are champions. And every reporter in the room is suddenly, yeah, we want to know why are the Celtics champions. So every reporter's sitting on the edge of their seat. And I would guess every coach in here right now is sitting on the edge of their seat because they want to know, big secret. Larry Bird said, look, lots of teams have great players. We have, being a champion has absolutely nothing to do with basketball. And the reporter sat back down, and every player who's a champion knows exactly what he's talking about. It has nothing to do with basketball. It has to do with trust. It has to do with trusting your teammates on the court and trusting your teammates off the court. Doc would have said that he cries at the opening of a supermarket. I'm going to follow that up too. I trust Tim Barnes as much more than anyone. You see all these statistics here, these rebounds, 773 career rebounds. No one's close to that. That is just an extension of who he is and why we were champions. Like Molly here, I didn't suffer from guilt of shooting a basketball. But I trusted that if I missed, Tim Barnes would be there to get the rebound. Before me, Lud Wirtz was there. Tim Barnes graduated, says he was fifth. I think he was up to fourth in scoring. Tim Barnes played with the 3 leading scorers in the history of Ripon College. Lud Wirtz, myself, and Ashley Cooper at the time. I'm guessing he would have been the #1 scorer had we not all shot quite so much. The ball never got down below Tim. So these rebounds, they're literally just an extension of who he is. He's just the most trustworthy guy on and off the court. I'll say one last thing, and I'll keep this to my 2 minutes. If you took all the players in the history of Ripon College and lined them up, and we had a big draft, like the NBA just had their draft, and the players were all in their primes, there are lots and lots of great guards. There are tons of great guards who played at Ripon College, great players. There's lots of great wingmen, there's lots of great shooters, there's lots of great defenders. If you had that draft, Tim Barnes would have been the #1 pick because he is so much better big man than anyone that ever played. I love Doc, I love Lee. I mean, there's some great players, but Tim is up here. So I would like to introduce to the Athletic Hall of Fame a true champion on and off the court, my great friend, Tim Barnes.
Mark left me a little message up here, kind of a smiley face that says, "Hi, Tim." So that's kind of a nice touch. And I really appreciate Terry stepping in at the last second in place of Doc Weisky. I'm sorry Doc isn't feeling well today. We're talking about Doc quite a bit, but Terry to fill in at the last second like that, he got probably about 15 minutes notice is something that Terry Kramer is all about. Terry was my roommate for 2 years. He was my teammate for 3 years. And now here after 35 years, he's still one of my best friends. Just a great, great human being. Great, great teammate. I wasn't going to start off this way, but I got to tell you that I was very fortunate. It's almost like I had a double lotto jackpot when I came here to Ripon College. Because not only did I play with one of the single greatest coaches in the history of Ripon College, but I also was fortunate to play with perhaps the greatest basketball player who ever played on Ripon College jersey. The only guy ever drafted in the NBA from Ripon College. This guy left school as the all-time leading scorer, and that would be Terry Kramer. So thank you, Terry. Appreciate that. But if Doc was here today, I know what he would say. Believe it or not, I heard him say this probably about 200 times. Arnie, when you showed up here at Ripon, you couldn't walk and chew gum at the same time. While that may sound a little harsh, it was actually fairly true. But you know what? I loved hearing that each and every time because it just reminded me of just how amazing my 4 years were here at Ripon College. Because to go from a kid who couldn't walk and chew gum at the same time and now be inducted into the Ripon College Hall of Fame is something that we never would have ever imagined. And I remember when I was a freshman sitting on that bench watching those varsity guys play, thinking, man, these guys are too big and too good, too talented. I could never play at this level. And Doc Weisky frankly agreed at that point. But the very next year as a sophomore, I did get a chance to play. And by the middle of the year, I got a chance to start. And by the end of that second year here at Ripon, take a look at the stats. I was the 3rd leading scorer in the Eastern Division of the Midwest Conference. And I was the leading rebounder on a championship team and the first team in Ripon College history to make it to the NCAA Division III tournament. So you say to yourself, how does that happen? How do you go from a kid who knows even things can play in this league to one of the best players in the entire league 1 short year later? And I'll tell you how that happened. 2 words, Doc Weisky. That guy is just a legendary coach. I'm here to tell you the legend is true. He's just amazing. And for me to walk out of school here, as Hawk said, 4 years later, as one of the all-time leading rebounders and leading scorers, this is something I never would have anticipated. And all that credit has to go again to Doc Weiss. I wish he could be here today, but man, the guy had a huge positive impact on my life. But obviously, not only played with the greatest coach, played with one of the greatest players ever. I also played with a really good point guard, didn't we, Terry? Fellow Hall of Famer, Chris Ogle. Ogs, to see you back there. Thank you, buddy. Chris and I came in 1976, and we left together in 1980. That was kind of a special year for us because that was Doc's last year. And we kind of gave Doc a pretty nice going-away present. First team Ripon College history, we won 20 games. We won 15 games in a row, another championship, and then a trip back to the NCAA Division III tournaments. That's something that has always been pretty special for Ogs and myself. And certainly Terry was a huge, huge part of that team as well. So, there's a couple other people I got to thank before I step down from the podium. And two of those people are my parents, and I'm so glad that they're here today. Robert and Donna Barnes over there. I remember coming out of high school, my dad's an eternal optimist. He says, Tim, where do you want to play college basketball? I'm thinking, college basketball? I'm really not all that good. It really wasn't that much fun, but you know, my parents did what all great parents do, is they ignored their kid. And they provided that great leadership because they knew there was somewhere better for me out here. And that somewhere better, obviously, was Ripon College, because these 4 years here at Ripon changed my life for the better forever, and I'm eternally grateful. So, Mom and Dad, thank you. You guys have been a great call. You know, they contacted Ripon College on my behalf. Dad contacted Doc Weiss. He set up the tour. They took the day off of work. We came up here. My mom took my SAT. Well done. They didn't fingerprint back in those days, so you got away with that. And now today, my daughter Allison goes to school here. She's going to be a junior. She's just an amazing volleyball player, but even a better human being. And I was so happy that she chose to come here to Ripon because she gets to share some of the same great experiences I did, 30, 35 years ago. So, Allie, thanks for coming here. She kind of put me back on the radar, allowed me to reconnect with a lot of great people I kind of fell out of touch with, the last 25, 30, 35 years. So, Allison, thank you so much. And thanks to my wife, Kathy, for providing that great leadership as a parent that my parents did. Got Allison enrolled here, and all my kids enrolled in great colleges and university. And thank my son Doug for coming in from Seattle, and my daughter Calissa, who's here, coming up from Milwaukee, and my longest friend, Glenn Switowski over there, Glenn, and his girlfriend Pam. Thank you so much for coming. My three sisters got some new dresses for the occasion. But most of all, thank you, Ripon College. It's, again, these 4 years I spent here were some of the greatest 4 years of my life, and it just had such an incredible impact that thank you for that. Thank you for this award.
Distinguished Alumni Citation recipient, David G. Hartman, class of 1964, presented by Nancy Hintz, class of 1982, and director of the annual fund and the 1851 Club. Dave and Nancy, please come forward.
Well, good evening. It is a great honor to present David G. Hartman with the Distinguished Alumni Citation. Dave is a doer, a giver, a leader. He lives Ripon's mission and values every day. Those of us who have had the pleasure of working with Dave know that he is motivated to do all the right things for all the right reasons. And he is really, truly a genuine servant leader. Dave has embraced his chosen profession with unwavering dedication and with a deep commitment to lifelong learning and leadership. In 1965, Dave earned a Master's of Actuarial Science from the University of Michigan. He worked for over 34 years for Chubb Group of insurance companies, retiring as Senior Vice President and Chief Actuary in 2005. During his tenure at Chubb, Dave served as President of the Casualty Actuarial Society and of the American Academy of Actuaries. He has also served as Chair of the U.S. Actuarial Standards Board. In retirement, Dave has served as President for the International Actuarial Association, which represents over 95% of actuaries worldwide. Dave also holds the title of Honorary Fellow of the Institute of Actuaries, United Kingdom. Dave's pattern of success extends well beyond his many professional achievements. Forgive me, Dave, but one could describe Dave as a self-actualized actuary. His community involvement is exceptional by any measure. He is an elder and serves as co-chair of the mission team at Liberty Corner Presbyterian Church in New Providence, New Jersey, where he and his wife Kitty reside. In addition, he has been involved in Boy Scouts, United Way, the Summit Area Public Foundation, and other community organizations. He's earned many accolades for his community service, and in 2007 was named Citizen of the Year for his work with United Way of Summit, New Providence, and Berkeley Heights, New Jersey. His community service doesn't end here. For over 20 years, Dave has worked on behalf of the Overlook Medical Center, a nonprofit teaching hospital located just outside of New York City. Notably, Dave served as chair of the Next Century of Healing Centennial Campaign, which raised over $110 million for the medical center. In recognition of this highly successful campaign, Dave received the Philanthropist of the Year Award in 2011 from the New Jersey chapter of the Association of Fundraising Professionals. And in 2012, he was awarded the very prestigious Lifetime Achievement Award for Community Service from the Overlook Foundation. Suffice it to say, when Dave commits to something, he is all in. And this is very good news for Ripon College. Dave is a steadfast champion of Ripon. He's been a member of the Board of Trustees since 2006 and has served on the Advancement, Audit, Finance, Investment, and Trusteeship Committees. He and his wife Kitty are partners in the Legacy, members of the 1851 Club, and they have made a leadership gift to the Imagine Tomorrow campaign. Last, but certainly not least, Dave has made a gift to the annual fund every year since 1965. That makes me happy. Dave is a member of the class of 1964 and is celebrating his 50th reunion this weekend. Not surprisingly, Dave has been a leader in the class gift effort. And although I cannot reveal the details about the class of 1964 gift until tomorrow morning, suffice it to say that Dave's pattern of success is unbroken. Well, Dave is not only highly successful, he is also kind and generous and devoted to his family. It is obvious that Kitty, his children, and his grandchildren are Dave's most treasured blessings. Congratulations, Dave. Your exceptional service to your family, to your profession, to your community, and to our beloved college is greatly admired.
Thank you very much, Nancy. Nancy learned just about 2 or 3 days ago that she'd be making this presentation tonight, and I appreciate her kind words very much. Thank you. I especially want to thank the Alumni Association for honoring me with this recognition tonight. It makes me very proud and humbled to be a part of the group that's up here and the others coming forward. What a bunch of terrific stories each of these honorees have. As you see in the program, Wayne Webster was to be the presenter tonight, but his wife's in the hospital, so he is doing the right thing and he's being with her rather than here. But as I look at the Alumni Association and the fact that they have some criteria for this award, one of the criteria is that you be an alum of the college. It kind of makes sense. But if that criteria were relaxed, to me, Wayne Webster would be a very deserving recipient of a distinguished alumni citation tonight. He and his staff have done a terrific job of reconnecting with alumni, and that helps strengthen the Alumni Association, which is what we're all about tonight. It also helps in that he and his staff have raised well over $50 million towards our Imagine Tomorrow campaign. I know there are a number of people here tonight from the advancement department, and I'd like to recognize each of them by asking them to stand. Anybody from the advancement department? These are people who are reconnecting with alumni, and what a help that is all the way around. Another criteria that the Alumni Association has for honorees is that they have to be able to be at this dinner. And we'll hear in a minute that Larry was selected for this award a year ago, but he couldn't attend, so he wasn't presented with it a year ago. That's my understanding. Being in the class of '64, there's somebody known to all of us who certainly has distinguished himself in his career as an alum of Ripon College, but he's not here tonight. And that would be Harrison Ford, who's over in England filming a movie. When you're an actor and you go on stage, you're often told to break a leg. Well, he literally did. My point is that there are other people who I think are far more deserving of this award than I am. But I do appreciate receiving it. It is a terrific honor. I'm quite grateful for my time at Ripon. I, like many current students here at Ripon, was a first-generation college student. Neither of my parents were able to go to college. And I think somewhere around a third of the class is still, in this day and age, they still are first-generation students. And that makes me proud to be associated with Ripon, to make sure that these students are getting an absolutely terrific first-rate education as they are here at Ripon. For me personally, I attended Ripon for 2 years and then went on to the University of Michigan to learn about being an actuary. One of my classmates recently said he also happened to graduate from Ripon but then went to Michigan for further work. He said that, yes, Michigan taught him what he needed in the way of technical skills to make a living, but our time here at Ripon has taught us how to live, and that certainly applies to me. the liberal arts education that I received here is one which I greatly appreciate. Thank you again for this honor. Thank you to my wife Kitty for traveling to 6 continents, attending actuarial meetings, long-suffering wife of an actuary, and thank you all for being here tonight. Appreciate it.
Unless you want to give it away. Athletic Hall of Fame recipient, Alan D. Long, class of 1969, presented by Chuck Larson, class of 1965, and the 1990 Hall of Fame inductee and former head coach of men's and women's tennis. Al and Chuck, please come forward.
Mysteries. Most people enjoy mysteries, thinking of solutions, explanations. For example, what happened to Malaysia Flight 370? That's a mystery. Another one might be, why would someone enter a hot dog eating contest? A third one, and more pertinent to this evening, is, why did the selection committee wait 34 years to induct Al Long into the Hall of Fame? Al was a running back, a tailback, a great one. He was big, fast, maybe sort of shifty. Big. Al was a big tailback before big tailbacks came into vogue, so to speak. He was bigger than the offensive lineman blocking for him and the defensive lineman from the opposition trying to tackle him. That's a pretty good matchup. Fast. With the exception of a couple of the wide receivers, Al was probably as fast as anybody on the team. Now that becomes a better matchup, big and fast. Shifty. Oh, horse crap, Al, you were shifty. You ran over people. The greatest testimonial I can give to Al comes indirectly from his head coach, the late John Storzer. John was an offensive guru who loved to pass the ball. But John knew what side of the bread the butter goes on. For during the 3 years when Al was the starting tailback, along with his running mate Steve Thompson, Ripon ran the ball. Around, over, and through people to 2 conference championships in 3 years. That speaks volumes for Al's effectiveness as a running back and for John's recognition of that effectiveness. Now, back to mystery number 3. Al, I don't have an explanation, and I'm on the selection committee. However, better late than never. Al, welcome as the 3rd best running back in the history of Ripon to the Ripon College Athletic Hall of Fame.
Thank you, Chuck. And I'm sorry I didn't go out for your tennis team. I was a little afraid.
I'm also
kind of a tough sport. You have to excuse me a little bit. This is my teleprompter, so I'll be looking down more than up probably. Thank you, Coach Larson, for being my presenter and saying the nice things that I told you to tell. President
Massetti, Ripon College, and the Alumni Hall of Fame Committee, I am very proud to have my name and accomplishments associated with the fine college. I'm very humbled to have my friends, alumni, and my family, including I have two brothers that are on IR that were able to come here. They're here, and that's great. My wife Kathy, sharing the evening with my wife Kathy and I. Last weekend was our 45th anniversary, so. She's a saint. I guess when I came to Ripon, I was the right guy, at the right time, at the right place. I was lucky to have such good coaches. Obviously, Coach Larson, but we had the legendary John Storzer. And if I remember correctly, I think I may have been the first person ever to have to take a timeout. I had a game that I fumbled 3 times, and John Storzer said, "Al, you go sit over there and take a timeout." And that's 43 years ago. We were truly a team. Our offensive line, my running mate Steve Thompson, I don't think Steve is here today, but I did see him at our 40th anniversary. We all had a lot of respect for each other. And we did our jobs and would not let each other down. We were tough guys. I mean, these guys were blue collar. They were just tough. Ripon College and Ripon football taught me to be as good as I could be. Anything else was unacceptable. Taking responsibility and having a good work ethic would carry through in my life. The older I get, the better I was. Thank you, everybody.
Distinguished Alumni Citation recipient, Lawrence E. Hamilton, Jr., Class of '63, presented by Lisa Ellis, Director of Advancement Services. Larry and Lisa, please come forward.
Hello, everyone. It is my pleasure to present our next award recipient, Larry Hamilton. But I'm going to begin with a question for all of you. What do the Navy SEAL Team 6, you know, the ones that got Osama bin Laden, Ike and Tina Turner, and Jack Ruby all have in common? And you can't answer. They all play a part of a rich history of downtown Dallas. And if you're interested in knowing more, you'll just have to ask Larry, and I'm sure he would love to fill you in. If you're lucky, he might even give you one of the most riveting and insightful walking tours of downtown Dallas you will ever experience. I'm sure he would be happy to do so. Larry is the CEO of Hamilton Properties. Reuse, redevelop, redefine. It's the company's mantra, and Larry is a design-oriented developer specializing in converting obsolete vacant buildings into hip urban destinations. Focusing on multifamily and hotel buildings in Dallas. Focusing on multifamily and hotel developments, Larry and his son have successfully given new life to many historic buildings in Dallas. As former Dallas Mayor Laura Miller put it, Larry and Ted Hamilton have single-handedly made it possible for us to use the words downtown and hip in the same sentence. I'm trying to get him to come to Ripon so we can say the same thing. Larry's work in revitalizing downtowns began in the 1980s in Denver when he helped to convince the Holtz organization to develop a downtown hotel in Denver's first former National Bank building. Due to his efforts, the Magnolia Hotel chain was born. In the 1990s, Larry focused his sights on Dallas and became the primary force behind the revitalization of a once dying downtown. His dynamic, mixed use of developments occupying 3 full city blocks helped to preserve historic buildings and strengthen the city's architectural legacy. Larry's civic involvements have included leading 2 foundations and chairing 2 higher education governing boards, including the State Board for Community Colleges. He has served on the Downtown Planning Committee for mayors of both Denver and Dallas, and has received various honors and awards for his contributions to higher education, business leadership, and historic preservation. In 2005, he was pictured on the front page of the Wall Street Journal in an article that described him as having jump-started the revitalization of downtown Dallas. It's my pleasure to introduce Larry Hamilton, class of 1963, as one of this year's Distinguished Alumni Award recipients. So please help me welcome Larry.
Well, thank you, Lisa. It's very kind of you. And I love Ripon College. I can't say enough good things about my 4 years that we're here. It was a great experience. And we've had a little bit of luck since then. Timing is everything in life. And we've had some luck in revitalizing downtown Dallas by recycling older buildings into new urban lofts and hotels. And I call it the Seinfeld effect. It's people in my generation grew up watching Ozzie and Harriet, Leave It to Beaver, Father Knows Best, idealized the suburban lifestyle. But the 30-somethings and 40-somethings today grew up watching Seinfeld, Friends, and Cheers that idealizes the urban lifestyle, and we're exploiting that. So we've had some luck, and we really appreciate this honor. And I love that close of, the older I get, the better I was. So I've got to steal it.
Let's have one more final round of applause for all our Alumni Association. I think I can safely say you will not be forgotten. This concludes the 2014 awards presentation. I want to thank all of you for attending and for your support of Ripon College. Following tonight's awards, please join us next door in congratulating tonight's award recipients at the Evans Admission Center and Hughes House, where the class of 1964 and 1989 are jointly hosting the reception. I'd like to ask Sarah Kraz, Professor of Music and College Organist, to please come forward to play the alma mater. Oh. Sorry. So speedy. Please stand and sing along with us. The words are on the page, on the last page of the program. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and good night. Good night, everyone.